I was going to give Billy maybe one more moment to get in here with us before we get started, because I know she's trying. Oh, Shea, that's okay. We know you're here. Feel free to put any comments in the chat if you have them. All right, well, I think we'll just go ahead and get started. And Sylvia, Catherine, and Shea, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Like I said previously, Cassie is not going to be able to be here this morning. She had a family emergency, but I do have an agenda to share, and we can have some conversations around it, and then share those with the rest of the committee, and move forward from there. So I'll go ahead and share my screen. Vic, is there anything you'd like to add before we get started with the agenda?
Just a sec. Let me take a look. Well, I had sent you the link yesterday as a potential, keynote speaker. Someone he's an author and he's a national speaker. He's really energetic too. His name is Coach D.
Yep. Hi, Jessica. Good to see you. Hi. Yeah, Vic, Elva, would you put in your notes that we will send that link out to the committee and for their review, and we'll also reach out to see, how much he costs, etc.
Okay.
All right. Well, what I was hoping that we would do today, and I would really appreciate any kind of engagement that you can offer this committee. I'd like to talk about dates for the Impact After School Conference. We have done the conference in September in most recent years, and that seems to have worked fairly well. I did get a little bit of feedback that maybe we could look at doing it either later in September or maybe at the beginning of October instead, just after the beginning of the year rush kind of calms down and people have their programs in place. So I wanted to talk about that with you guys. And then secondly, I want to talk about the option, the opportunity, the benefits, whatever, of offering potentially a Saturday session for those frontline staff that might need their childcare licensing credits. And we can talk more about that too as the conversation unfolds, but just want to get kind of people's initial feedback, initial ideas, and please, if you would just go ahead and take yourself off mute and let me know kind of your initial thoughts on those two items to start with.
I liked the dates in September, like in the past. I know it is nice once we have everything planned to have those meetings, like the full day trainings and stuff. But I think it's nice to be able to be in the buildings when they're first starting as well. So personally, I liked the dates that they were before, but I wouldn't be opposed to having it another time either.
Okay, so you like it in September?
Yes.
All right. And we've kind of traditionally done it, well, the last few years, I guess, more towards like the, middle end of September. And that seems like that worked pretty well for you, Sylvia.
I think so, for like my personal schedule and what I do, but I don't know if that's the best for everybody.
I mean,
Shay also shared in the chat, Heidi, she said she likes the idea of starting later September or early October, especially with low staffing, issues at multiple buildings. So a later date would be nice.
Okay.
And Billy Stone, she was able to log in.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Billy.
I had problems.
Well, right now, Billy, we're just talking about dates and considering a potential late September, maybe even early October, just getting what people's thoughts are on that. Do you have anything to add?
I kind of like the early October just because we're just starting into the September programming and things, and it
Right.
just seems a little more relaxed,
Yeah.
October.
Okay. Thanks for that.
And Owine, I don't think it really would make a difference for the folks that attend either way. So, I mean, I'd be fine with pushing it back too.
Okay. And you know, it may be that our location starts to dictate too what dates we look at. You know, if we're, as Elva and I are looking at different conference center, hotel centers, things that are available and what and when, you know, we may decide that it's the first week October, and they may say, well, that it's booked that day, and maybe we would need to look at the week before or the week after. But if we can kind of get into, I think, a general time frame, that will be more helpful. I just wonder if there's anything that anybody knows about that we should absolutely avoid when it comes to dates. Or if that seems like a pretty open time.
I think September's been working out well. I mean, we used to do it in the same week that the Drake Relay was happening, and we made it work. It was,
Yeah,
had a few things that were difficult, but and that in the September, nobody's doing anything big, so there's
Right.
always plenty of hotel space. So
yeah, indeed. Okay, wonderful. Okay, now please let me know what your thoughts are on the idea of a potential either full or half day Saturday. This would be in an attempt to get your frontline staff able to get some childcare hours for those sites that are licensed, or maybe be able to have some of your people that would potentially not be able to attend because they're working with kids, be able to get some PD. So what are the concerns? What are the ideas that you think, you know, what do you think about that?
let me just say, Saturday will not be a required attendance like
Right.
the regular conference. So, however, if you do attend on Saturday and because you can't attend the rest of it, you still get credit.
Okay.
So we're trying to accommodate. Plus, I don't know, Heidi, you didn't mention we're trying to partner with what's left of ISACA as well.
Yes, so there's really nothing left of ISACA except for the people that are still interested in being part of providing training and professional development to strengthen our sector. So since ISACA is no longer doing their yearly conference, and they always did a Saturday. So my thought was, if that was something that was really beneficial to people or that they would miss, then maybe we could fill that void. But go ahead, Sylvia, sorry.
I remember years ago, we used to attend the ISACA training and we would have all of our staff go and they would get a good portion or a good chunk of those required DHS hours out of the way. And I found it to be useful and more engaging. We did find out recently from Melinda with DHS that safe schools that we take like through the district on the computer, those now will count towards those additional hours, which never was before. But I would think that a Saturday training, sort of like ISACA or something like that, would be beneficial. and more, I think the staff would enjoy it more.
Okay, yeah, I just, I want to try to get a gauge, like, I think maybe we'll do a little bit of surveying and stuff. I don't want to put a ton of work into a Saturday session and then have, 10 people attend or something like that. So I definitely don't want to make that decision in a vacuum, but maybe we could even set some minimum registration requirement or something like that.
Okay.
One other thing too we can promote is the idea that getting those DHS credits, even if you're not DHS certified yet, is something that'll help with long-term sustainability, because there's no conflict with getting DHS funded and receiving 21st Century. But let's say down the road your grant expires, you'd still have that DHS money coming in for operations. So
Mhm,
that's very important when you think long-term.
mhm. Well, and I know in the past, I've heard from many programs that it's difficult for them to get staff to the conference because they have to work with kids, from 2 or 2:30 on. So I just kind of wanted to see if this could be a way, for people to be able to participate. And then I thought we could also, talk about, we could discuss the hours of the actual conference as well. Maybe we need to start earlier and end earlier to accommodate that type of thing. I mean, I think that, the any kind of discussion could be on the table. I just don't want I don't want Elva and I or Vic and I or whatever to be making decisions in a vacuum. I really want to hear from the field.
You may want to look at the hours of the conference just because of what you said, Heidi. At the end, people leave early, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Because they have to get back to their programming or they have to start their long drive. So that may be a real issue for us to look at those.
Okay. Yeah. For those who are traveling from out of town, what are your thoughts on that kind of arrangement? Would it be all right to be ending earlier on both days, or does that make it less attractive for you to travel?
Can you remind me what the hours were last year?
Sure. I know we've usually begun with an hour of registration, welcome, and breakfast about 8 o'clock, and then we usually wrap up around 4.
Another thing we can do is try to have some sessions that maybe are not best practice sessions occur in the afternoon. Maybe a vendor session would happen at that time, things that aren't as critical. We can do that with scheduling too. Another thing very important for this committee is you guys are out there in the field. We really need best practice sessions, things that people are doing that are worth sharing in the field, because that's one of the main reasons that people want to come to the conference. They want to get new ideas, things that they can take back with them, make their programs better.
Absolutely. All right, well, we'll look into the dates during the kind of weeks that we talked about. Oh, Shea has something in the chat I want to share. She likes Vic idea. We travel 2 hours. So on the way home last year, I was on the phone with staff. So if we could get back sooner, that would be helpful. Okay. So we can maybe keep that in mind, and knowing that some people are going to leave early. A lot of people end up leaving early. Maybe we can either offer fewer sessions in the afternoon and then have them be, things that are a bit less critical. Okay. Shea, did you have any thoughts about the Saturday option? Go ahead and throw it in the chat if you do. And then I want to hear people's feelings on location. So last year we were at the Blank Park Zoo. That was kind of an interesting change from years past. I think I heard a lot of people say that, well, you know, it was actually kind of 6 of 1. Some people really liked it, and some people really hoped we would be back at a hotel this year. So once again, I didn't want to make that decision unilaterally, but I have my own feelings about that, and I'm wondering what the committee has to say.
Yeah, we just can't meet at Adventureland.
What? Why not? Oh,
I know we've talked about this before, but I think a lot of the breakout rooms were just too small. Just
yes,
couldn't accommodate the whole group. So I think that was definitely a challenge.
I agree. Yeah, the breakout rooms were too small. I totally agree. I think that we, want to plan for the best option, which is what ended up happening last year, where we ended up with way more people than we thought we were going to. So we might as well try to have the room available for that. Did anybody really, really like that idea of doing it outside of a traditional space, or did anybody really have feelings strongly about being at a hotel conference center?
I enjoy both. I don't think it is really matters. I mean, I liked the zoo. I liked being able to sneak out and see the monkeys or something, but some of the rooms did get crowded.
Yeah, yeah. And I wonder about our people that are traveling, if that presents a bit of an issue, to try to find. We had a lot of issues with finding hotel rooms that would, accommodate the correct rate for the state and have had the licensing that they needed for the human trafficking license that they have to have, et cetera. So I wonder if finding kind of an all-in-one could potentially be easier for our out-of-town folks.
Yeah, usually we get a block of rooms at the hotel that we were having the conference, and that seemed to be something that would make it easier.
Right.
Plus, those rooms are designed for bigger groups. The zoo typically has smaller training going on than you'd find in a hotel conference center.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah. And I do want to make it more attractive for people to travel, to come to the conference. Like we've gotten a lot of feedback in the past, whether it's warranted or not, that it's a kind of Des Moines centric conference opportunity. And I don't want it to be that way. I want it's for the state. So if there are things that we can do to make people feel like it's really beneficial for them to come. Does anybody have thoughts on that?
I did not attend. This is Billy. I did not attend last year at the zoo, basically because of family issues. I would assume that a hotel would be more fitting for the conference layout and for those folks who need to go back and forth to their room for whatever, would be much, how do you say it, easier for them. And I don't know if we talked about moving it out of Des Moines. Is that what I heard you say, Heidi?
No,
No?
not necessarily moving it out of Des Moines. I think Des Moines is a really good, I mean, it's a great central location for people to be able to travel to. I just don't want them to feel like they're coming to a conference in Des Moines and all of the options are, geared toward Des Moines folks. Like,
Okay,
yeah, I want it, I truly want people to feel like they're attending a statewide conference. So I just want to be really thoughtful about that this year and make sure that the offerings that we provide are good for everybody, and that no matter where you come, even if you're coming from a tiny rural community, that you're still walking away feeling like you've benefited from attending.
okay.
All right. Okay.
Well, I have an idea for a session.
Okay.
One of the things that's really important is there's 3 funding streams from the USDA to provide. There's snacks, the after school snack fund, there's the after school full meal fund, and then there's the summer feeding program, where if you do that for summer school, the younger kids can come in and eat breakfast and lunch, and it's all included with that program.
Mhm.
And I would like to get somebody from food and nutrition, but also I'd like to maybe have someone from the Boys and Girls Clubs, because everywhere the Boys and Girls Clubs have a site, they always serve a full meal.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got it worked out. They're partnered with the food bank. So maybe we could have somebody from the food bank come in and then give folks ideas about how to provide, good nutrition to the kids that need it the most.
Great. It's a good idea. All right, well, maybe I'll just open it up then for other ideas for sessions. Is there anything that is really top of your mind right now that you would like to be able to attend at the conference this year when it comes to session material? Otherwise, we're kind of just throwing darts at a board and hoping that that's what people are going to want to see.
Heidi, I have only attended one this year, or last year, I guess now was my first time. Can you give us some examples of sessions that have had really good feedback that people have liked, so that maybe we can build off of those or see if there's any gaps?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the past, we have invited people in from different projects, like U for Youth. They've done some different sessions relating to like social emotional learning or a STEM, how to bring STEM programming into your after school program. We have done also in the past some kind of different tracks for the different attendees. So like if you were a director of a program, it would be, these particular ones are picked out as like a curated kind of selection for you. You didn't have to go to them, but you could. And then if you were a frontline provider, then you might want to go to these particular ones that are in red, because it might be more, project based or focused on behavior. We've had family programming sessions in before. One really cool thing that we did in the past was a round of lightning sessions. We called them lightning sessions. So they were like 20-minute, like a 20-minute kind of round robin. And it was people from the field. So whether it was a 21st century program or a community school program or somebody like that had one really cool idea that was probably not enough for an hour and 15 minutes, but it was enough for 20 minutes. And that was a really neat kind of quick thing that we did one year, and it got more people involved to actually present as well. So that's really, I would really like to do that again if people were into that. But Shea said she attended at the zoo, but it was crowded. a hotel would be an easier option. Would Wells Fargo Arena be open because it's a huge space? Rooms potentially, but it's really expensive. I've done stuff there before, but we can look into it. Yeah, and then Vic, thank you for dropping that link in the chat for Youth. There's available sessions and they can come and present with no cost to us.
Yep, and we can pick what we want them to present on, and we usually will, I have to send the application in, and we usually do that like in July.
I have a question, or I don't know. I attended a leadership workshop just earlier this week, and this may sound really crazy to most of you folks, but they were talking about stakeholders, and stakeholders have like 3 different positions. One is, are they the influencers of our program? Are they the decision makers of our program? And there was another one, Elva and Heidi, that I actually forgot. And I mean, I was kind of taken back a minute on how much power or influence that our stakeholders actually have. And then my thought is, well, do the directors know this? Or, because this is something brand new to me when I heard it. So I always thought they just came in and we said, we want you guys to do this, this, and this, but not knowing the other background that they actually do. So, I mean, that's what I was kind of wondering is that a possibility of a thought? Just what does the stakeholder do for our nonprofits?
I love that. I love that idea, Billy. I think that, I think you're right. Like that kind of session is a little bit of a change from kind of our normal lineup. And it would be really nice to be able to offer some of those kind of high level programmatic sessions as well, especially for our directors that are coming. And it might be more attractive to maybe administrators or people that are wanting to start an after school program and just don't know where to start.
I understand.
That's a great idea. Let me know if you can give me any more information about who ran that and if they'd be interested in doing a session at Impact.
Dennis, the guy who does
that
the
idea.
leadership. Dennis, the guy, thank you. The Dennis who does the leadership program, I think that he's the one who actually presented that to our group.
Oh, okay. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. You're talking about our leadership series.
Yeah.
Great.
We could even consider starting a leadership academy that we could kick it off at Impact, and then we could have quarterly follow-up sessions. Because we need to develop more staff that can fill in and, recruit maybe from the colleges too, people that want to get into education and in particular work with after-school kids. And, we can maybe get experiences for them at different programs around the state.
Yeah. That's great. That's definitely the hope with our first leadership cohort that's happening right now. Billy, I know you're part of it and I hope you're enjoying it, but we like to continue that, especially being able to offer something for new and emerging leaders too in the future. And then maybe even being able to do kind of like some type of thing at Impact where we bring all of those leaders together and do a session. Still definitely thinking about that for sure. Anything else popping into your mind?
I think it's beneficial for like new grantees or new to directors to hear more about just like the APR system, how you enter things, how you do your data collection, use that spreadsheet that's on the website. Just more background with that, those types of things.
We could certainly do an APR session. However, I'd probably be the one having to do it because Tim Glenn got a promotion. So he technically doesn't work on the APR. He's, more involved with the other title programs that are going on, but I'd like to maybe get somebody else that works with APR.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Maybe somebody from the evaluation committee.
Absolutely. We could maybe talk to Caitlin about that.
Yep, we could do a joint session.
How do you guys feel about those, about the opportunity for some little shorter sessions? Do you think that might make people more inclined to want to present if it wasn't a full hour and a half or hour and 15? I thought it was really successful the year that we did it, but I want to hear, it's been several years, it was pre-pandemic, so I want to hear what people think about that.
I remember going to that one, Heidi, and I did like how, because it wasn't the whole day, but it was just part of the day. And then you could, kind of dip your toes in different topics or subjects, and you weren't committed to such a long time as a participant. But I think it would be attractive to vendors or people that want to come in and speak to. So I like it.
Right.
I like.
Oh, great. Thank you. And I'm thinking too about our new leaders that have been through the leadership series, for example, and might be ready to do a presentation, but are maybe anxious or apprehensive to do a full one. But they might be more inclined to be like, well, I can do anything for 20 minutes, right?
I like the idea of shorter sessions. However, Youth for Youth might have to have a certain amount of time to be able to come out. So maybe we have a blend of short sessions and long sessions, because maybe the content in somebody's session, they need, more than an hour.
Yeah, I think you're totally right. And I think the way we did it in the past was we had just a regular traditional day, but then on one of the days, and Sylvia, maybe you remember, from like 1 to 3, it was the lightning rounds or something like that.
I think it'd be nice to hear from a more diverse group of people too. Maybe some folks from rural areas would be really nice to hear from.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
One year we had a presentation from Hamburg doing a farm school. However,
That's
Hamburg
cool.
is no longer a grantee, and the rurals have had a lot of difficulty with staffing too. So, I'm hoping this year we can get more rurals to participate.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really cool. I remember that. I wonder if maybe they would still come and do a presentation even though they're not 21st century anymore. That's the other thing. It's the conference is open to everybody, so you don't have to be a 21st century grantee to participate. Shaya says she went to a conference in Omaha and the sessions were short and she liked it, although she wanted some of the sessions to be longer because it was good content. Yes, absolutely. That's good feedback.
Oh, another possibility is last year we weren't able to get Iowa Ag Literacy Foundation to do a session. It was too late. So this year they would be available. They have, materials that are, you just have to pay for the shipping. They give you the books for free. They have a game. The kids learn about agriculture, and they're willing to, if you're running a summer program, they'll come out and help you with a garden. So it's just a ton of resources available, but it's all focused on kids learning about agriculture and how to grow things. So I think that's important in Iowa.
Absolutely, yeah. Was anyone at the conference last year when we did that panel up at the front? And it was it was the full group, and we had the different like a provider, and then someone from the STEM Council, and someone from STEM Next. Was anyone there last year when we did that? And what did you think? Maybe you weren't. That's okay. Okay, that's all right.
It might be fun to hear from some food corps folks too. When you're talking about gardening, I used to be in food corps, and yeah, they have a lot of great information.
I just wrote them down, Catherine. Thanks for saying that. Yeah, yeah. Do you still have any contacts there? I don't think Lynn Jenkins is with Food Corps anymore. Do you know Sylvia or Jessica?
Yes, I have the person from Iowa. Her name's Apple. Yep.
Apple. Oh, her name's Apple.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, let's try to connect with her. That would be great. And to that too, Elva, I wonder if a session on, or a short session on having an AmeriCorps member or an AmeriCorps program when we're thinking about, sustainability and staffing shortages and, funding and that type of thing, that might be something that we could think about offering as an alternative for people
Yes.
too.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that. Great idea, Heidi.
Well, and with the AmeriCorps session, we should include the governor's volunteer awards, because a lot of our programs, you could be giving your staff awards for some of the volunteer work that they do, and even community partners. And we need to reach out and provide more recognition. I mean, that'll be huge for us.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I wonder, now that you've said that, I'm wondering if Cameron Ryan from Volunteer Iowa, Elva, would want to do a session maybe on service learning and volunteering. And then that could wrap up in that too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe we could get someone from the governor's volunteer awards to also be in that session.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We'll look into that. All right. Well, I've got several pages of notes and my marching orders to get started on. So what are anybody else have anything they'd like to add or has popped into their mind? Jessica put in the chat, yes, she was going to say sustainability is a big thing to continue to include. Also including how to engage building staff. Sometimes after school programs feel separated from other school activities or priorities. Yes, hurt to that. I agree.
It's kind of loud in here, so let me know if you can't hear me. One of the CSCs from a high school just shared this morning with us that they've been doing PD days with their staff with ArtForce Iowa, talking about like trauma-informed care, trauma responsiveness, and how to best respond to behaviors. And I think that is something that would be really important for our staff that we hire, or for us to be able to have to relay to staff and really utilize. I know, of course, part of that is having the staff, and sometimes we can't fully implement those things the way we want to, but it's still very important information.
Yeah, I agree. And Shea says she loves that idea too. Jessica, would you mind seeing if you can find out who their connection with ArtForce is? Thanks.
Now, some of those sessions are available online through, I think, the AEA online system. And that might be a good resource to share, because then it's available across the whole state. But you could certainly get someone, if you had enough staff, to do, face-to-face session too. So we need, I think, both options.
Yeah. Great.
Also, I'm looking at the chat here, and one of the comments is that sometimes they have a hard time finding, PD for their staff, and we can run workshops, but we need to know what are some of those PD needs that you have. Are there some specific areas that you need some help with? Let us know, and we know trainers around the state, and we may be able to do regional workshops. It doesn't always have to be in Des Moines. We used to all do one on the eastern part of the state and the western part. So keep in mind, we are here to support you.
Yeah. And I think we're hoping to get back to that in the future.
Oh, we're getting there. It's just,
Yeah.
it's slow.
Yeah. Rebuilding.
No, Vic, I like your idea. Because we are in a changing world, and it is taking our time to get where we have to go, to get where yeah. And sometimes I wonder, we're losing a lot of staff in probably all of our locations. And we have to make sure that our folks, the ones that are coming up after us, at least can drive the boat. So I appreciate what you're saying, sir.
Thanks. Yeah, it's, PD is just critical to us having good programs and having staff that have enough of a knowledge base so a problem doesn't become a disaster.
Right.
Are there also resources for folks that are running programs on how to best manage staff? I think a lot of 21st century site coordinators are in an interesting position where they're hiring either like parents that are in the school or other teachers. So it's an interesting position to have teachers when they're like our peers and our colleagues. And I don't always feel like I am the right person to provide certain feedback. So getting some guidance on that could be really helpful too, is like how to best manage a team, especially with like different team dynamics in an after school program. I don't know if that's making complete sense, but
It is.
okay.
Glad that
It
you
makes
mentioned
sense to
that.
me.
Yes.
Yeah.
We can certainly create a thread for that. And I'm sure that you're not the only one. It's always good when somebody asks a question, because there's usually 3 or 4 people that were thinking about it, but they said, no, I don't want to ask that. So thank you for telling us about that issue, and we can certainly work on that. And I don't know if we need to have regular sessions. We can, maybe do one and see where everybody's at, and then see how we need to move forward, whether it's quarterly or monthly, depends on how many needs you guys have. But yeah, I can certainly start us off with that, unless there's somebody else that wants to do it. But I am trained in HR, and I've got a degree in management. So plus I've been an administrator at the school, and I've, also been a teacher. So I am comfortable with all aspects of that. But, right now it's even harder because the pandemic has made everybody edgy.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
That's what I was thinking.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording now.